Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another Monday news update here at GM Philosophy. I'm the GM Philosopher. I want to give a big shout out before we get started to our two latest partner level supporters, Solstice and David. Solstice and David, thank you so much for everything you do for the channel, for contributing, for helping behind the scenes, for being a patron of the arts, so to speak. And I want to thank everyone who's here, who's gonna watch the live stream, who's keeping up with the news. Thank you so much for being here. It's awesome to get to hang out with everybody. I hope everyone's having a great Monday. How's your Monday going? Drop me a comment. Let me know if your Monday is going good. I hope it's going great. My Monday is going pretty good, except for my sleep schedule's a little bit off because I had some work meetings like really early this morning because working remote. I have people I work with located all over the world, and I had to have a meeting today or this morning with someone who lives in Amsterdam. So it was like a really early meeting, very, very early. But this is great. This is awesome. Monday. So good to see. Heck yeah. Mr. Vincent's in the house. Garrick is here. Juo Buzz is here. Slept in. Heck yeah. Slept in are awesome. Blue Rose Lion is here. How's it going, Blue Rose? Mondays are Mondays. Yes, they are. That's true. I usually say Mondays are my favorite day of the week. And then people would ask, well, why is that? It's like, because that's the day that the stressful festivities of the weekend conclude and I can get back to my normal schedule. That's what I used to say, but I will say that a normal schedule hasn't quite yet emerged for me yet lately in the craziness of my life, but we are getting there. Speaking of that, that's one of the news points I'm going to talk about. Let me show you something. This is really actually cool, very very fun. And I gotta find the right link here. Where is it? Can't I just how do I'm trying to place this in my thing so I can share it. Here we go. Okay. There we go. All right. The newest edition of GM Insider magazine is actually done. A new editorial article. I'm going to show it to you. Yeah, here we go. Check this out. Unstable. What the hell is going on? GM Philosophy Insider Magazine, April 2025 issue. So this article, which turned out to be about 6 pages long, this is the newest edition of GM Philosophy Insider Magazine. This is available on the Ko-Fi. Link to that is in the description. If you are a silver level or higher, you can read these. And basically, these are editorials I write that are kind of personal and give you an inside glimpse into like my life, but even more so like my life as it relates to GM philosophy and just the adventure of being the human trying to start and run this project. So that's pretty cool. That just dropped this morning on the Ko-Fi. So if you're interested in that and you're at least silver tier or higher, you can grab that and read it. And I will tell you that it's a banger this month. I talk a lot about just how it's been going with me in my life, basically. So that's one news item that's on the docket. But that's not the only one. Also, we had a book release today as well, and I want to share that with you. And this is actually really, I'm super happy about this. Let me share my screen. All right. So the book release, and this is all done, and I am so happy how it turned out, is called Mind, Scars, and Madness, a TTRPG guide to mental conditions, a storytelling toolkit for exploring trauma, healing, and the fractured mind in immersive tabletop adventures. So this book I've been working on actually for not an incredible long time. It's been a month-ish that I've been working on this book. And so I've actually put quite a bit of time into this one. And because I wanted to get it done for April. And I was really so there's a couple reasons why I was inspired to write this book. Number one is because I just got inspired to want to create something kind of edgy, due to recent events in my life. Sometimes when I undergo uh, experiences that like involve a lot of emotional upheaval, um, they a lot of times my creativity will go to like edgy places, I guess you might say. And so I felt like making this just because personally I wanted kind of a creative outlet that was a little edgy. And then also, though, I've noticed that I'm playing a character Grom in Williams games on Sunday nights. Shout out Dungeons and Twenties, and so so Grom's character has been definitely navigating some kind of just emotional conditions, mental conditions, and it's interesting. And I think that this is something that uh, as we want to run more immersive games, we have to at some point realize, the human mind is a delicate thing. And while it is resilient and while it is powerful and strong, and while there's so much potential there for greatness, there's also great potential for pain and suffering that comes from within. And so that's where this book came from. And I'm just going to give you just going to show you a little bit. There's some wild stuff in this book. So part one of this book is the foundation and framework, the psychology of role play, how mental conditions influence characters, etc. Then we have part two, which is the condition compendium, broken up into basically anxiety disorders, mood disorders, trauma and stressor related disorders. Excuse me, I'm yawning. I'm still so tired. Um, Obsessive and compulsive states, paranoia and delusions. And then so basically the way I laid this out is I would say I kind of lay it out in order of like going from least severe to most severe in terms of like mechanically how it might affect your character. So it gets wild, man. Obsessive and compulsive states, paranoia and delusions, dissociative states, addictions and compulsions, phobias, madness from beyond, cursed or magical mental states, corrupted minds and cursed souls, extreme conditions for villains and dark story arcs, and then corrupted minds and cursed souls. Well, basically, this is part two of that part, but it just delves even deeper. And yeah, it's like, I mean, there are conditions in here like mortalis reversal syndrome, egophagic dissociation, cannibalistic mirror identity disorder, just like a lot of wild conditions that are obviously made up, but they're really crazy, and it gives you a lot of possible fuel for your games. Uh, Part three of this is tools for the table. So there's actually a cool random roll table that you can use to random roll your own mental disorders, including a custom symptom builder and all kinds of other things. So it's a wild book. Let's scroll down here to some of these more intense. Okay, so like the thousand-eyed delirium. There are so many of me watching, blinking, screaming. Narrative description. The character is convinced they are infested with eyes on their body, inside their body, in their blood, their bones. They believe they see everything and that something is watching through them. So that's just like one of the conditions. There's God host derangement syndrome. I am the temple, you are the offering. Narrative description. The afflicted believes that they are a living vessel for a forgotten God, or worse, that the God has already taken residence. They display divine behaviors, horrifying quote unquote miracles, and expect worship, fear, and sacrifice. So, anyway, crazy toys in the attic. He is crazy over the rainbow. Yes, very crazy. Let's see what else here. Sovereign hemophagus ideation. If I bleed on you, you become me. Narrative description. The afflicted believes their blood carries divine sovereignty. That identity, memory, and reality itself can be overwritten by transfusion. They spread their quote unquote kinship through blood, smearing it onto others to convert them. And then there's all kinds of other wild stuff. But anyway, so that is the book release for this month. the month of April. You can buy this. Link is in the description for $3.99 through my personal bookstore, or you can obviously get it if you're a Ko-Fi member. Just go to the Ko-Fi, go to your Ko-Fi shop and sort by ebooks, and it will be right there in the latest releases. So heck yeah, super pumped about that. Super pumped that this is done and it came out so awesome. Definitely something I'm going to be using in my campaigns coming up. Definitely something a little crazy and edgy. So yeah, shabam. That's what we got going on with that. Yeah, now let's see what else we got going on. Events. There have been some kind of irregularities with events lately. Now, we have a lot of different events that go on in the GM Philosophy Discord nearly every single day. Let me just talk about these things for just a minute. Oh, well, Warrior, I missed this comment. I admit, Monster Hunter Wilds is a detrimental impact to my sleep schedule. Sometimes it'd be that way. For me, it's starting a new project, remote working. So I had cut a lot. I cut back a lot on my remote work because I was ramping into growing GM philosophy full time, and there was like a plan. There was like a plan where I was going to work on it full time, basically to the end of 2025 to get it really ramped up. Avery Juno's in the house. How's it going, Avery Juno? Good morning to you as well. And but then all of the plans have just been laid at the wayside. With the craziness of my life, I am moving. I'm selling my house. My my wife and I are getting a divorce. There's a lot of change going on. Mostly all of that change was prompted by the divorce thing. That was the very first thing that happened, and then a bunch of decisions were made following that. But so yeah, a lot going on, and I started going back to remote work because my plans for growing GM philosophy, which involved basically using savings as a buffer for a bit, got completely derailed because um, all financial plans got completely derailed. So I'm going to go back to basically my digital marketing job, and that's pretty cool though. It's really awesome. And shabam, I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to be running GM philosophy. So I'm still trying to work out the kinks, you might say, in the scheduling, because the scheduling has been a bit brutal trying to fit both in. And I will admit that I'm still working on that, but we're getting there. We're getting there. And I really appreciate everyone who supports the channel. Like, I want to just once again give a big shout out to all of our Ko-Fi supporters. Mr. Vincent's in the house. Mr. Vincent supports the channel. Blue Rose Lion is a supporter. Maybe others in here too that I'm just not recognizing that are supporters. But I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Herminator's in the house. How's it going, Herminator? I also want to thank our counselors. Avery Juno is a counselor. Really help keep the Discord running strong, even in all the craziness. Another thing is we've got some contest winners that I'm excited that moving forward in this week, I'm going to be sharing some contest winning stuff on the YouTube. We have a mini games contest, 2 winners, 2 people tied, but I will admit I don't know anything about it yet because I never look at the contests until I look at the winner, because I want to react to it like in the YouTube video. I want to keep it fresh. But anyway, all right, let's talk about events coming up this week. This is important because it has changed just a little bit. All right, so let me bring this up here. Now, in the Discord, happening right now, obviously, Monday News Update live stream. We do this every week, every Monday at 10 a.m., or that's the plan. I believe that that's going to remain fine. Last week, I think, if I remember correctly, it got canceled, maybe. Anyway, now, the Game Master support and Hangout virtual meetup. This has been a very difficult event. Excuse me, I'm yawning again. This has been a very difficult event to get rolling for me, because it just turned out that 1 p.m. on Monday spot was almost impossible for me to show up to with my new schedule. So So I've moved this to 7 p.m. on Monday night. So tonight, hosted in the open voice channel, Game Master Support and Hangout. I plan to be there from 7 to 8 and just hang out with everybody. I hope that people can make it. I do also know that because there's a change in time, some people may not be able to make it. We're going to see how it goes. I hope it goes really well. Tuesday nights, we have the Barrenlands. I hope that everything goes well and that we're able to keep running the Barrenlands. But the plan is going strong every Tuesday evening, live streaming it. It's getting real intense. They just had the first basically boss fight in the last session, and it's super awesome. Wednesdays at 1 p.m. GM Masterclass. We are still going strong on the GM Masterclass. Let me look and see what the coming up topic is. Now, our recent Game Master topic was creating immersive NPCs. That's an easier time for me, so I'll likely be there for the hangout. Oh, very nice. Heck yeah. Maybe it'll be easier for everybody because actually the 1 p.m. that used to be really easy for me, but I think it's going to change. I think that it's going to become where the evenings are going to become more easier for me to hang out as well. Let me find this. Game Master Masterclass class list. We just did creating immersive NPCs, improvisation, and thinking on your feet. So the next masterclass is literally going to be about improvisation, and that's going to be on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Now, you do not need to be there to enjoy the benefits of these master classes. They're 1 hour long. I give a lecture. Anyone can join. Boom. It's in the open game channel and I record it. I give like a lecture, usually 20 minutes, 30 minutes on the topic, but then we stop, ask for questions, let people chime in. Also, it is expected that we're going to have some discussion. There's going to be some basically discussion amongst everyone who shows up. And that's going to take up probably the second half of the masterclass. And that's going to bring a lot of value. Experienced game masters may want to bring their 2 cents. Newer GMs may want to ask questions. And then when we answer those questions, we make the masterclass even better. So you can find all of those replays on the Ko-Fi store. And let me just actually show you this. This is really cool. I think I can very easily switch to here. Yeah, okay. Now, if we go to the shop, we have all these things in here, and you can sort these things by like, let's say, the compendiums. Right now we have 3 compendiums. We have another one coming out in April, but ebooks, all the ebooks you can sort. My internet isn't loading very fast, I guess. Some of the covers aren't loading super fast. Let me refresh the page. Yeah, there we go. See the ebooks. And then if you do GM master classes, you'll see right now there are 3 master classes posted live. There's the understanding the role of a TTRPG game master, building engaging settings and worlds, and then developing immersive NPCs. So right now we have 3 master classes, but they generally go up at a rate of once per week. And then of course we have the GM Philosophy magazines. We have the map collection. And, I keep adding to that, man. Every time I make a map, it goes in the map collection. If you join the Ko-Fi, you get access to my whole map collection, which is actually really wild. There's a lot of maps in there. At this point, there's maybe like maybe 30 maps. And it just keeps on building because I keep building maps, obviously, as I run games. So that's pretty awesome. Anyway, so let's go back to this. Okay, so GM Masterclass. Now, on Thursdays, there's the TTRPG YouTube Creator Hangout. These hangouts are for TTRPG YouTube creators who want to get together, network, share information, encourage each other, and continue the journey of creating amazing content on YouTube. So there's a lot of D&D lovers, TTRPG lovers who also have a desire to be a content creator, who want to, basically create YouTube channel, whatever. That's what I'm doing. I'm on the journey of growing my YouTube channel, and every single week I'm in that business, in that challenge. And we already meet, and this is like a masterclass, but it's about succeeding on YouTube. And we have had some really interesting episodes. These get recorded and also put on the Ko-Fi a shop, but as long as you're silver level or higher, you can access these. But like episode 1 was about consistency, thumbnails, and finding your audience. Episode 2 was should you monetize your hobby? Also, the GM philosopher's full YouTube story. So that was an interesting one. And then episode 3, the last one was YouTube video packaging, viewer retention, and paid GMing marketing strategies. We were talking about strategies you could deploy to maybe succeed, have a higher likelihood of succeeding as a paid GM, just from a marketing perspective. So anyway, super, super cool. I would definitely check that out if you're at all interested in like YouTube stuff. I love YouTube actually. I love like YouTube is so much fun, and I'm so excited to get to a point in my life where I have a more like I get back to a streamlined YouTube routine, because I'm going to tell you what, my YouTube has been, I feel like it's been okay. What can we say? Let me go to my YouTube here real quick. I am going to say that I feel like on one hand, my I kind of feel like my YouTube has had an interesting run. I feel like on one hand, some of the content I've been publishing lately, and let me just share my screen here. Some of the content I've been publishing lately has been really good because it's been kind of raw. And it's just been like, I mean, as you see, I have no background right now. It's just so everything is so just how can I say this? Everything has just been so thrown to the wind in so many ways, in this craziness that has been my life for the past well, actually for the past year, which I talk about in the Insider magazine. But some of these YouTube videos I've been putting out have just been, they've been so much more raw than what I used to do a lot. Influx, that's a great way to describe it. So they've just been raw. It's just been me, like, instead of approaching the topic from some kind of artistic, trying to be creative, being like, okay, how could I make this video do this? I just sit down and I just tell you exactly the raw stuff, the raw most important points, and they're not fancy, they're not edited fancy. They are edited. I've been editing, but I haven't been like, I mean, doing anything fancy. It's just been film raw, edit, put on YouTube. And so there's an element of like this video making has been filled with like really raw deliveries, but I would say maybe a lot of value. Interestingly, this is another interesting thing. I have So when you have a lot going on in your life and you're trying to like reorder and make everything like basically run right again, you can't do everything you used to do. I used to have many more hours per week that I could dedicate to each YouTube video. So I would think about things like, what topic is going to get like the most views? What topics can I cover very uniquely? What are other D&D tubers putting out? How could I create content that'll maybe complement that? Or how can I go, in a different direction to keep it different? How can I attractively dress the videos and title them? And friends, I'm going to tell you what, all of that marketing stuff has just, I haven't had a single hour to devote to it. So these videos that I've been creating recently, I mean, I hope you like the thumbnails, but these thumbnails, like, I spent the time designing them, trying to make them look nice and communicate what the video's about. There's been almost zero thought put into whether they'll be clickable, to whether or not they're gonna win the competition on YouTube every day of like, what are people gonna choose to click on? I've been just making them and putting them up. And so it's just been really interesting. This latest chapter on my YouTube has been very raw and real, and I almost felt like I needed to create a playlist of these videos, like maybe my influx playlist, the videos that I make when life starts to give me the squeeze and I have to basically go from making really polished videos to making really raw videos. Like maybe I should categorize those differently, but I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so so yeah, so that's where I'm at with that. So the point of that is the TTRPG YouTube Hangout. Um, that event we do every Thursday. It's a really interesting event, and I love talking about succeeding on YouTube. But lately, even I have just been throwing stuff up, and I've had some videos really pop actually, which is really interesting. But YouTube continues to be a challenge and a mystery. And of course, on Fridays we have the Friday call-in live stream show. Um, that show every Friday at 1 p.m. is basically the only, that's kind of like the surviving remnant of Coffee Break Live, but I do the call-ins and it's really fun, super fun. We talk about pretty much whatever at those things. I never know what we're going to talk about. So make sure you tune in for that. And then of course on Saturday mornings, we have been continuing with Good Morning Game Masters, me and Kelf and John Haney. John Haney and I were, doing the last one. Kelf wasn't able to make the last one because, hey man, life easy and things happen, and sometimes you can't make it to everything that you want to. And I realize that Kelf has been very busy, but I think that Kelf is planning to be at the next one. So next Saturday morning, Good Morning Game Masters, and we talk about, basically we try to break down the most controversial topics in the TTRPG space. That's kind of like the goal. If anyone has any sweet, like awesome TTRPG topics that are kind of edgy and trendy that they think we should cover, feel free to message Kelf and let him know, because he's the one who picks out the topics and he always does a great job. Avery says, one day I'll wake up early enough for it. Yeah. Yes, it's early, man. That's an early one, but it's 6 a.m. and that's the usual video release time on the channel, right? So that's what I chose. Why did I do that? Why do you do these things to yourself, GM Philosopher? Why do you make these choices like this? Anyway, yeah, so that's most of the news. Let me think if there's anything else. Dragon Week is coming up. Now, Dragon Week is from April 21st to April 25th. I plan to cover, we have a dragon contest going on right now. And I plan to share a lot of our creations made in the Discord in the contests during Dragon Week. So during those days, the 21st through the 25th, I plan to share a homebrew creation from the Discord contest, which is going to be really fun. So I'm going to be sharing a lot more than usual. And then I'm also going to be shouting out my favorite D&D YouTubers and basically, just giving them some love. I don't usually shout out other YouTubers and things like that, but during Dragon Week, the idea is to build community. And I want to thank Mr. Vincent, actually. Dragon, heck yeah. I want to thank Mr. Vincent, actually, for sending me the document about Dragon Week and even making me aware of it. Blue Rose Lion says 6 for you is 5 for me. I don't roll out of bed till 7. Fair. I don't blame you. Herminator says, I don't want to pry. You can absolutely say no if you want. Is this divorce happening now related to a relationship you had a separation from a few years ago? No, I've only been married for a year at this point in this marriage, and we've been together for several years. I had another long-term relationship that was quite a while ago, predating this one, where it was not a marriage, it was just a dating relationship, and that there was a separation in that relationship, but that's been a long time ago now. That's been over, I think it's been over 4 years ago or something at this point. So no, this relationship and marriage is much newer, the one that's ending now. I could talk a lot about relationships and marriage and these kinds of things, and here's what I'm going to say is that I think I've learned a lot about relationships and marriage in this chapter of my life. And I think that, oh man, how can I say this? I think that I have learned that you've got to do two things really well. you've got to pick the right person. You've got to pick the right person, number one. And number two, you have to be the right person, because that's half the equation. And I'm also going to say that I'm not 100% sure that I'm like a marriage person. Maybe that's part of it. I have a very kind of like, um, I have actually a uniquely structured life. I'm a remote worker. I have sort of strange wake sleep times. I have kind of like unique work needs. And like when I say unique work needs, I mean I like work at home. So my whole work life is at home, or it was at home. And so that's kind of that presents its own kind of interesting challenge. And then I really am serious about like life optimization. I believe very much in trying to optimize your life for minimal waste. So I'm really serious about things like eating a healthy diet, being healthy and fit. When I say healthy diet, the rock stars probably aren't the healthiest, but I accept them as kind of like my primary vice. But like I try to live in an optimized fashion to really, because I am very driven at my work goals. When I work, I want to do the best job possible. I want to be the most excellent possible. I want work to be a reflection of like my excellence as a human. So I want to create good stuff. Like with gym philosophy, I try to, I basically try never to miss things that I planned. I always try to show up and do my very best. I try to put out the best products possible. And let me tell you, it's not like I don't feel super I do not feel super great recently about the GM philosophy platform as far as like what I've produced, because like I was telling you earlier, the YouTube videos, I kind of feel like they've been just thrown at the wall recently, because because there's been so much going on. All of this divorce stuff is happening. It was happening right at tax season, which is actually a big thing for me. Tax season for me as a small business owner is sort of like a multi-day event with a lot of paperwork, and it just sets everything back. Like it's just like I have to keep working and I have my normal work, but then wham, I have to try to fit like 2 to 3 almost full days worth of work in to that, on top of everything else, on top of divorce. So this recent chapter, oh, and then selling the house too. That's like a thing. So this chapter right now that I'm in is just not cool, bro. It's not cool, bro. Anyway, there's my thoughts about that. Avery says, I post D&D questions on my threads, and the topic that always gets response is the debate on evil species and alignment being much more malleable. Yeah, we haven't talked about that one. I think we've been holding off on that one because we want to have that one when Kelf is there. That's a super good topic, and I actually think that that's a very interesting topic to talk about. Herminator says, you talked about your journey a few months back. I didn't know if the two are related. Well, they're probably related. They're probably really related. Good morning, William. How's it going? Austin Walker says, cool. I know Tales from Elsewhere shares a lot of your fan base. Oh, nice. Heck yeah. Tales from Elsewhere. So actually I've been really asking myself, which D&D YouTubers am I going to shout out? Because there's a lot of them that I really like, but I'm going to like pick one per day during Dragon Week. So it'll be really fun. It'll be fun who I actually finally decide on. Mr. Vincent says, my pleasure. Get those scales on. Heck yeah. Austin says, a squirrel plays might not mind. A shout out. DM Timothy and some others need a kick to the head. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a positive or negative thing. I like DM Timothy. I think DM Timothy is cool. I've watched some of his videos. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean. AWOL Warrior says, working remotely and going through a divorce is a dangerous recipe for isolation and a lot of time to spend in your head. Don't forget to get out and interact with humans once in a while. That is actually really true. Being a remote worker is a recipe already for isolation. But then, yeah, going through something like a divorce, having so much work to do that is super true. And I absolutely think that we should make time for these things. That is why, Austin Walker said it. He's interacting with us. I have not stopped any of the games I've been playing into running, because those are actually, they've been like my predominant fun social interactions. Like the primary, like when I say fun social interactions, I mean, so I do run the live stream and it creates content for the channel and stuff like that, like the Barrenlands, but it's also really fun. And it's probably more fun than like, it's probably, it's like so fun that saying that I do it for the business isn't actually probably even completely true. I do it a lot because it's so fun. And then I play on Sunday nights with William almost completely for fun. I started out having some plans to kind of like, create content with that and stuff like that, but it just turned into me hanging out with my friends. And William streams to his channel, and I love that because that helps Williams' channel too. But it's almost like that's all a secondary thing to just playing the game. And I also like to stay in the game because I don't want to be someone who's talking about D&D all the time, but I'm never running or playing any D&D. I want to stay hungry. William says if it wasn't for D&D, I wouldn't have any contact with the world. So yeah, if it weren't for D&D, I would have like very, very, very little contact with the world. Juo says, in real life D&D versus online play. You know what? Right now, I'm not playing any in real life D&D. I had to stop with my core group that I was running on Saturdays for a while because I don't have a place to run it. And to be really honest, I don't know that I have the time or the bandwidth to devote to getting my stuff, traveling to someone's house, setting it up, running D&D. I just had to put a stop on it right now, which I kind of like, I'm kind of sad about, but it is what it is. I'll pick it up in the future and it'll be all right. But it's so much easier to fit online into it because I, there's not this hour or hours of traveling there, traveling back, setting things up, this and that. It's just I sit down at my desk and I log in and then it's boom, it's right there. It's like no commute, really very little setup time. There is like session prep time, so like preparing maps and stuff like that. Avery says, I see my partner a handful of times a month. Otherwise, the online D&D games are my entire socialization. It's very convenient. Playing D&D online is super convenient, and I totally understand. Now, with that being said, I went out like last Saturday. I went and walked downtown, and I hung out with my kids on Sunday. We hang out. They're really busy. They're getting older, and they are very cool, and they have a lot of cool things going on. So they don't have quite as much time to hang out with Dad as like they used to when they were younger. It used to be we'd spend several days a week together and stuff, but now, my oldest one's driving, so he's driving everywhere, and just doing cool stuff. And my daughter is really into violin and volleyball, so she's like always trying to be playing volleyball, and she's got her friends and she's playing video games with her friends. And so it's just like very busy doing fun stuff, but they still come hang out with me a little bit. And we hung out on Sunday. We went out and went walking around. That was really fun. I have found greater dams online than in my area as a player. Well, that's another thing, is it connects you to the whole world playing online, right? The biggest barrier once you get online is like time zone restrictions. There are some people that I've met who I still haven't gotten to really play D&D with just because we're in like opposite time zones, and that's the hardest thing. But as a general rule, I mean, you open up the whole world to being able to hang out with them. And I will also say that it's been super cool that I've been able to find gamers who really are like me, in the sense that I want to play like a serious immersive storytelling game. And that's really fun, because when you're playing locally, the whole player pool might not represent the kind of players that you would play with ideally. So you might have to make some compromises to put your party together. But online, that is so much less likely to be the case. Online, you're so much more likely to be able to put together exactly the kind of party you want, a party who thinks like you, who wants to game like you do, who wants to game in the style and the genre that you do. William says, indeed, all my local DMs are more about the chaotic, silly style play. Yeah. No, and I feel like that kind of casual style, like a more casual style of game, is definitely the kind of game that I think is more common around here too. Like the kind of game where it's like, hey, let's get together, bring a case of beer, who's bringing the pizza, we're going to hang out, and in the middle of our games, we're going to break into 20 to 30-minute conversations about work and just telling stories, and then we'll kind of get back to the game. It's like, it's more like, I would say the typical style of gameplay in my area tends to be, we like to play D&D, and it's the excuse for getting together, but we do other things too. D&D is definitely not like a high priority thing when we get together to play D&D, and I'm not like a big fan of that. No offense. I know that there are a lot of people who play different styles of D&D, but when I'm playing D&D, it's very much like a creative artwork thing for me. I want to focus on it. So that makes me a little different, I guess. Herminator says, I'm so thankful my wife supports my D&D hobby. She's even a player in one of my games. That is super cool. That makes such a big difference, man. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. For the last, for the last year, let's just put it this way. I have not been surrounded closely by very many humans who are very care at all about this hobby or anything about it. And then it just took a turn for the uglier toward the end, just not being supportive at all. And it's just like, don't be in a relationship with people who don't support the things you love. It's no good. It's no fun. And while it's not the most, D&D may not be the most important thing in the world, there are probably things that should have a higher priority, like, keeping the bills paid, obviously, trying to be a good parent, trying to be a good human, trying to do your best in your life to, keep your life running smoothly. Health, wellness, fitness, these types of things are really important. But, if there's something that's important to you that you enjoy, the people in your life who you let into the closest parts of your life, they should support you in that. And if they don't, it's kind of a problem. Juo says, been a player in and ran 100 to 200 games online. Only ran 4 in real life and played once. That one time I got to be a player in real life, I remember to this day, 2 years ago. Damn hard to play in real life, but it's 10 times better. It's a perfect escape from in real life. Yeah, so that's actually interesting. I've heard a lot of people say this. It is a perfect escape. And I don't disagree. It can be an awesome escape. But I guess I don't think of it as an escape. I think of it as a creative outlet. I think of watching shows as an escape. But when I play D&D, it's more creative than that. I'm also a musician, not so much these days, but I used to like make a lot of music and stuff. I was in bands and stuff like that, and I played the drums and the bass mostly. I also played a little guitar, and I wrote songs. But like, I like to create music. It's very fun. I used to love creating music, writing music, playing music. Playing D&D for me is like playing music. It's not like watching a movie. So playing a video game is very similar. For me, playing a video game, it walks the line, but it's not necessarily a creative experience. It's an escape. But D&D is a creative endeavor for me. So I think I categorize it differently in my brain. Austin Walker says, I compare it to a religious experience. It can be very akin to a religious experience, high key, for sure. But all right, as we come up on 10:45, I think that's going to wrap this live stream up. I want to give a big shout out to our latest Gold Ko-Fi supporter, Craig. Craig, thank you for all that you do for the channel, for being an awesome part of the Discord, the YouTube, and everything else. I really appreciate all that you do. And I appreciate all of our Ko-Fi supporters. And I appreciate everyone who joined me today and hung out and talk about these things. And yeah, that's going to put a wrap on this Monday news update. Thank you all for taking a listen. And once again, just let's see, where is it here? Did I close it already? Yeah, but the new ebook is live. Don't forget. Let me show you this cover one more time real quick. This is metal. This is super metal. Yeah, here we go. Oh, okay. Show you this cover one more time. I don't know. Some of you probably weren't in here later or earlier when I was talking about this. But take a look at this. Mind Scars and Madness, a guide to TTRPG guide to mental conditions. Lots of crazy stuff in here. 98 pages of running mental conditions, and some of them get wild. You can purchase this for $3.99 in my personal bookstore. Link is in the description. Or, of course, if you're a member of the Ko-Fi, you can download this for free. It's in the Ko-Fi shop right now. So, boom, super excited. That's one of April's ebook releases. There will also be a compendium release, but that's not done yet. But anyway, Shabam. All right. So check that out. I'm really pumped about that one. Super proud of it. It's very metal, and I think it's going to be awesome to use that in some of my games coming up. All right. With that being said, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for coming back for another episode of GM Philosophy in the Morning. This is a live stream in the morning. We're here every single day talking about how to help game masters run better games, and that's the whole point here. And also, community is a part of that. So I guess these live streams are more about community, actually. And that's awesome. So have a good one. Roll some D100s for me at your next game. See you on the next one.